The crystal halls of Nexus Prime had not seen such fear in 1,000 years. 7 different alien races sat around the massive council table, their strange forms casting shadows in the blue light. Each one had ruled the galaxy for millions of years. Each one had seen countless young races rise and fall, but none had ever called an emergency meeting like this. Sethkar the Timeless stood at the center of the room. His ancient body looked like living stone, covered in scars from battles fought before most stars were born. When he spoke, his voice made the crystal walls shake. "They call themselves humans," he said. "They live on a small blue world at the edge of our space. We have watched them for only 50 of their years, but already we know the truth. They are dangerous beyond measure." The other council members shifted in their seats. The Zephyrians looked like tall birds with silver feathers. Their leader, High Commander Velnash, clicked her beak in doubt. "One small planet worries you?" she asked. "They have not even reached their nearest star. How can they threaten us?" Sethkar's old eyes glowed brighter. "Because they are like we once were, like all of us once were, before we learned wisdom, before we chose peace over war." On Earth, Commander Jake Morrison sat in his office deep under the Rocky Mountains. The walls around him were filled with screens showing every satellite and space station humanity had built. For 30 years, he had led Earth's space defense. He had trained for wars against other humans. He never expected to meet aliens. The message had arrived 3 days ago. It came from somewhere beyond Pluto, sent by creatures that called themselves the Galactic Council. Jake had read it 100 times, but it still made no sense. "Greetings to the species known as humans," the message said. "By order of the Galactic Council, you are commanded to remain within your home system. You will not travel to other stars. You will not expand beyond your current boundaries. This order is given for the safety of all galactic civilizations. Failure to obey will result in immediate action." Jake pushed a button on his desk. "Dr. Hayes, please come to my office." Dr. Lisa Hayes arrived 10 minutes later. She was Earth's best expert on space biology, though until this week, she had only studied Earth life. Her dark hair was messy from working all night on the alien data files. "Have you learned anything new?" Jake asked. Lisa sat down and opened her tablet. "The aliens sent us information about 7 different races. They call themselves elders. Each one controls hundreds of star systems. Each one has technology we can barely understand. And they're all afraid of us?" "Not afraid," Lisa said slowly. "More like worried. I found something strange in their files. Every one of these elder races has the same history. They all started as violent, warlike species. They all fought terrible wars. Then they all stopped fighting and became peaceful." Jake frowned. "What made them stop?" "That's what I can't figure out. The files say they evolved beyond the aggressive phase, but they don't explain how. It's like they all just decided to stop being violent at the same time." Across the solar system, Captain Roy Mitchell floated in the command center of the Starship Endeavour. It was humanity's most advanced ship, built in secret over the past 10 years. The public thought it was just a research station. They had no idea it could travel between stars. Roy looked out at the stars and thought about the alien message. "Stay in your own system. Don't explore. Don't expand." It was everything humans were not supposed to do. His crew was small but skilled. Kate Sullivan, the ship's engineer, could fix anything with spare parts and determination. Ryan Clark had trained, with every weapon Earth had ever built. Amy Peterson could navigate through space using nothing but math and instinct. "Captain," Kate called from her station, "the new drive is ready for testing. We could reach Alpha Centauri in 3 weeks." Roy smiled. "The Council won't like that." "Since when do we ask permission to explore?" Kate replied. Back on Nexus Prime, the Council meeting was getting heated. The Krillian representative, a creature that looked like living metal, slammed his fist on the table. "We should destroy them now," he declared, "before they become too strong." "Violence is not our way," replied the Ethereal Collective's speaker. Her voice seemed to come from empty air. "We have not fought wars for 10,000 years." Sethkar raised his hand for silence. "You do not understand. I have lived through the rise of every race in this council. I watched each of you grow from violent children into wise adults. But these humans are different. He activated a hologram that showed Earth's history. Images of human wars flashed by. Swords and spears gave way to guns and bombs. Bombs gave way to nuclear weapons. But through it all, humans kept exploring, kept pushing boundaries, kept reaching for the stars. Look at their pattern, Zethkar continued. Every other race followed the same path. They developed technology, fought wars, nearly destroyed themselves, then chose peace. But humans have developed space travel while still in their violent phase. They are spreading to other worlds while still fighting among themselves. So? Asked the Trilakian Empire's ambassador, a creature with too many arms and eyes. So they will not stop, Zethkar said. They will not choose peace over expansion. They will not accept limits. They will keep growing, keep fighting, keep pushing until they control everything or destroy everything. The council chamber fell silent. Outside the crystal walls, the stars shone peacefully, as they had for millions of years under Elder rule. What do you recommend? Asked High Commander Velnash. Zethkar's ancient face showed sadness and fear. I recommend we prepare, because the humans are coming, whether we want them or not, and when they arrive, everything will change. On Earth, Dr. Hayes made a discovery that would change everything. Deep in the alien data files, she found records that went back millions of years. Records of other young races that had tried to expand beyond their home systems. Records of what happened to them. Every single one had been stopped. Every single one had been forced to become peaceful. Every single one had joined the galactic community only after giving up their desire to grow and explore. But as Lisa read deeper, she realized something the elders might not know. Humanity had already spread beyond Earth. Secret colonies existed on Mars, on the moons of Jupiter in the asteroid belt. The aliens thought they were dealing with one small planet. They had no idea how far humans had already gone. The warning had come too late. Humanity was already unstoppable, they just didn't know it yet. 3 months had passed since the Galactic Council's warning, and Captain Roy Mitchell had made his choice. The Endeavour drifted silently through space near the Kepler system, far beyond where any human was supposed to be. Roy stood on the bridge, watching the stars that no human had ever seen before. Contact on sensors, Amy Peterson called from her navigation station. Multiple ships approaching fast. Roy felt his heart race. How many? 12 ships. They're big, Captain, much bigger than us. The alien fleet appeared on their screens like silver daggers cutting through space. Each ship was 3 times the size of the Endeavour, covered in smooth metal that reflected starlight. As they got closer, Roy could see strange symbols carved into their hulls. A voice crackled over the radio, speaking perfect English. Human vessel, this is Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian Hegemony. You have violated Galactic Council orders. Surrender immediately. Roy looked at his crew. Kate Sullivan sat at her engineering station, her hands already moving over the controls. Ryan Clark checked his weapons, though they all knew their small guns were useless against alien warships. Amy Peterson kept her eyes on the navigation computer, calculating escape routes. This is Captain Roy Mitchell of the Earthship Endeavour, Roy replied. We come in peace, we're just exploring. Peace is not relevant, Commander Veltar responded. You were ordered to remain in your home system. You will return to Earth or be taken by force. The alien ships moved into attack formation around the Endeavour. Blue energy beams shot out from their weapons, but instead of destroying the human ship, they seemed to grab it. Roy felt the Endeavour shake as invisible hands took control. They're pulling us in, Amy reported. I can't break free. Weapons offline, Ryan added. They've disabled everything. The aliens began dragging the Endeavour toward a dark planet covered in metal structures. Roy realized it was a prison world. Once they landed there, they would never see Earth again. But the Zephyrians had made one mistake. They thought, like the elder races, who always surrendered when faced with superior force. They expected humans to accept defeat with dignity. Kate Sullivan had other ideas. Captain, she whispered, the aliens only disabled our main systems. They didn't touch the waste recycling unit. Roy frowned. What good is our garbage system? It runs on a separate power grid, Kate explained, and it uses electromagnetic fields to break down waste. If I can overload it. She was already working, her fingers flying over hidden controls. The waste recycling system began making strange noises as Kate pushed it far beyond its normal limits. Whatever you're going to do it fast, Ryan warned. We're almost at the prison planet. Kate smiled. Amy, when I give the signal, fire the maneuvering thrusters, all of them at once. That'll tear the ship apart, Amy protested. Maybe. But it might also break their tractor beam. The prison planet loomed ahead of them, dark and threatening. Roy could see other ships in the distance, probably containing prisoners from races that had tried to resist the council. Now, Kate shouted. The waste recycling unit exploded in a shower of sparks and electromagnetic energy. At the same moment, Amy fired every maneuvering thruster the ship had. The Endeavor spun wildly as the alien tractor beam flickered and failed. Commander Veltar's voice filled with surprise. Impossible. How did they break free? But Roy wasn't listening. Ryan, do we have any weapons at all? The mining charges, Ryan replied. We brought them for asteroid surveys. They're not weapons, but they explode, Roy finished. Kate, can you launch them? The cargo bay still works, Kate confirmed. But Captain, those charges aren't guided missiles. We'd have to get close to use them. Roy looked at the alien fleet surrounding them. 12 massive warships against one small exploration vessel. By all logic, they should surrender. But humans had never been good at following logic. Amy, plot, a course straight at the lead ship, Roy ordered. Sir, you heard me, we're going to ram them. The crew stared at him. Captain, Kate said slowly. That's suicide. Not if we do it right, Roy replied. We launch the mining charges, then evacuate to the escape pods just before impact. The aliens will be so surprised by our attack, they won't notice the pods escaping. It was a desperate plan. It was also completely insane. But as Roy looked at his crew, he saw something in their eyes that no elder race would understand. They were afraid, but they were also excited. They would rather die fighting than live as prisoners. Amy, give me ramming speed. The Endeavor turned toward Commander Veltar's flagship and accelerated. The alien ship scattered in confusion. They had weapons that could destroy planets, but they had never faced an enemy willing to use their own ship as a weapon. Launch. The charges, Roy commanded. Ryan fired every mining charge they had. The small explosives shot toward the alien ships like angry hornets. The Zephyrians tried to shoot them down, but the charges were too small and too fast. The first explosion lit up space like a new star. One of the alien ships lost power and began drifting. The second charge hit another ship's weapons, and it stopped firing. The third and fourth charges missed, but they forced the aliens to break formation. Escape pods ready, Kate reported. The Endeavor was almost at the flagship now. Roy could see alien faces through the transparent sections of their ship. They looked shocked and afraid. They had expected easy victory, not a fight to the death. Abandon ship, Roy ordered. The crew ran for the escape pods as the Endeavor continued its final charge. Behind them, the ship's computer kept flying straight toward the alien flagship. Roy was the last to reach the pods, jumping in just as the two ships collided. The explosion was visible from 3 star systems away. The Endeavor, a ship built for exploration, had destroyed the most powerful vessel in the Zephyrian fleet. The other alien ships stopped chasing the escape pods and instead tried to rescue their own crews. Commander Veltar survived the crash, but his proud flagship was broken in half. As he floated in space waiting for rescue, he sent a message to the Galactic Council. The humans are not like other races, he reported. They do not surrender. They do not accept defeat. They would rather die than be prisoners. And they fight, with weapons we never considered. The escape pods drifted through space for 6 hours before another ship found them. But it wasn't a Zephyrian vessel. It was a human cargo ship from the secret colony of New Geneva. Captain Lisa Rodriguez helped Roy and his crew aboard her ship. We heard the explosions from 2 systems away, she said. What happened? Roy told her about the battle, about the alien demands, about their escape. Lisa listened with growing amazement. You destroyed a council warship? We destroyed 6 of them, Amy corrected. The mining charges got 5 more after we rammed the flagship. Lisa stared at them. Do you know what you've done? You've just started a war with the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. Roy looked out at the stars, thinking about Earth and the Council's threats. No, he said finally. We didn't start a war. We finished one. The Council thought they could control us because we're young and weak. They were wrong about the weak part. On Nexus Prime, the Elder Council received Commander Veltar's report in shocked silence. Zethkar the Timeless stood before the holographic display showing the wreckage of the Zephyrian fleet. 12 ships, he said quietly. They destroyed 6 ships and escaped. 1 small human vessel against our most advanced fleet. It was luck, insisted the Krillian representative. They caught us by surprise. Was it luck when they used their waste system as a weapon? Zethkar asked. Was it luck when they turned mining equipment into missiles? Was it luck when they chose death over surrender? The council chamber fell silent. This is what I tried to warn you about, Zethkar continued. Humans do not think like us. They do not fight like us. They see weapons where we see tools. They choose violence where we choose peace. And they will never, ever give up. High Commander Velnash of the Zephyrians spoke for the first time since the report arrived. What do you recommend? Zethkar's ancient eyes looked tired. I recommend we prepare for the impossible. Because somewhere out there, humans are learning from this battle. They are building more ships, training more crews, developing new weapons, and next time, they will be ready for us. In the hidden shipyards of New Geneva, word of the Endeavor's victory spread like fire. Human workers who had been building mining ships began modifying them for war. Secret messages flew between the colonies carrying plans and preparations. Jake Morrison, still in his underground office on Earth, received a report that changed everything. Dr. Hayes had discovered the truth about humanity's spread through space. There were not dozens of human colonies, there were hundreds. They had been growing and spreading for decades, far beyond what anyone on Earth had known. The Galactic Council thought they were dealing with one small planet. They had no idea they were facing an entire human civilization that stretched across dozens of star systems. The war for the galaxy had begun, and humanity had already won the first battle. Admiral Sam Carter stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching dozens of human ships gather in the shadow of New Geneva's largest moon. 6 months had passed since the Endeavor's victory, and everything had changed. The secret was out. Humanity was not confined to one small planet. They had spread across the galaxy like seeds on the wind. Final count, Admiral, reported his aide, Lieutenant Danny Wright. We have 47 ships ready for battle. Cargo vessels, mining ships, research stations, even a few passenger liners. All armed and ready. Sam nodded. The human ghost fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Other races built warships in military yards over decades. Humans took whatever they had and turned it into weapons in weeks. Mining ships carried missile launchers hidden in their cargo holds. Passenger liners had gun turrets welded to their hulls. Even the research stations could fight. Any word from the Trilakian Empire? Sam asked. They sent another surrender demand this morning, Danny replied. Fleet Commander Enthal says he's bringing 200 ships to Centauri. He wants us to give up all human colonies beyond Earth. Sam laughed. 200 ships? He thinks we're still the same species that begged for mercy 6 months ago. The truth was more complex. Dr. Lisa Hayes had spent those 6 months studying captured alien technology from the Zephyrian battle. What she found changed everything humans thought. They knew about space warfare. The aliens are very advanced, she had explained to Sam during their last meeting, but they think in straight lines. Their ships are beautiful, efficient, and completely predictable. They've been fighting the same way for millions of years because it always worked. And now? Now they're facing humans. We don't fight fair. We don't follow rules, and we learn from every mistake. The Centauri system had become humanity's testing ground. It was home to the largest human colony outside Earth, with over 2 million people spread across 3 planets and dozens of space stations. When Fleet Commander Enthal arrived with his massive armada, he expected to find frightened colonists ready to surrender. Instead, he found something impossible. "Commander," his sensor operator reported, "I'm detecting over 60 human vessels in the system. But sir, they're not running. They're moving to attack positions." Enthal studied the tactical display. His ships were larger, faster, and better armed. His crews had centuries of experience. The humans were flying converted civilian ships with weapons that looked like they had been built in someone's garage. "Send the surrender demand," he ordered. The human response came from Admiral Carter himself. "This is Admiral Sam Carter of the Terran Defense Force. You are in human space without permission. Leave now or face the consequences." Enthal couldn't believe it. Terran Defense Force? They've given themselves military ranks and everything. These primitives think they can fight the Trilakian Empire. He was about to learn how wrong he was. The battle began when the Trilakian fleet moved toward the largest human colony ship. It was an obvious target, massive and slow-moving, filled with civilians. Enthal planned to capture it and use the hostages to force human surrender. But the colony ship was not what it seemed. As the alien vessels approached, the ship's outer hull split open like a flower. Hidden inside were 20 human fighter craft, each one small enough to slip through enemy shields. They burst out of their hiding place like angry wasps, swarming the alien formation. Lucy Grant led the fighter squadron in her modified mining shuttle. The tiny craft had been built to work inside asteroids, which made it perfect for flying between enemy ships. Her weapons were simple laser cutters designed for slicing rock, but rock and alien hull metal cut the same way. "Red Squadron, attack pattern Delta," Lucy called over the radio. "Hit them fast and get out." The human fighters dove into the Trilakian formation. They were too small for the aliens' main weapons to track and too fast for defensive fire. Lucy watched her laser cutter slice through an alien ship's antenna array, cutting off their communications. Around her, other pilots targeted engines, weapons, and sensor systems. "They're like insects," one of the Trilakian gunners complained. "I can't hit them." But the real surprise came when the humans began their salvage operation. As alien ships lost power or suffered damage, human cargo vessels moved in. Instead of finishing off the disabled ships, they attached cables and began dragging them away. "Sir," the Trilakian sensor operator reported, "the humans are stealing our ships." "That's impossible," Enthal replied. "You can't salvage enemy vessels during a battle." "Tell that to the humans, sir." Engineer Ben Torres coordinated the salvage operation from his mobile repair ship. He watched his crews swarm over captured alien vessels, cutting away damaged sections, and installing human control systems. "Torres to all salvage teams," he broadcast. "Priority is weapons and engines. We need these ships fighting in 30 minutes. The aliens watched in horror as their own vessels turned against them. Ships they had built over decades were being converted to human use in real time. Worse, the humans were improving the alien designs as they worked, adding armor in weak spots and installing new weapons. "This is impossible," Enthal muttered. "No species adapts this quickly." Dr. Hayes had tried to explain it to the Galactic Council, but they hadn't listened. Human industrial capability was unlike anything in the galaxy. While other species took years to build new ships, humans could modify existing ones in hours. While other races designed perfect vessels for specific tasks, humans built things that could be changed and improved on the fly. The Battle of Centauri Gate lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the Trilakian Empire had lost half their fleet, but more importantly, they had lost their confidence. The humans had fought with captured alien ships, weapons taken from the battlefield, and tactics no military academy had ever taught. "Retreat," Enthal finally ordered. "We need to report this to the Council." But the humans weren't finished. As the alien fleet tried to escape, Lucy Grant's fighters launched one final attack. They had been saving their surprise for last. Each fighter carried a single human-made torpedo. The weapons looked crude compared to alien technology, but they had one advantage. They were programmed with human thinking patterns. Instead of flying straight at their targets, the torpedoes split apart. Each one became 5 smaller missiles that spread out and attacked from different angles. When the alien point defense system shot down 4 of them, the 5th got through. "Admiral," Danny Wright reported to Sam Carter, "the enemy fleet is leaving the system. We've captured 18 of their ships intact and destroyed 12 more." Sam smiled. "Casualties?" "Minimal, sir. The aliens never figured out how to hit our fighters." On Nexus Prime, the Elder Council received Fleet Commander Enthial's report in stunned silence. The proud Trilakian commander appeared on the holographic display, his uniform torn and his ship half destroyed. "They fight like no species we have ever encountered," he reported. "They turn our own ships against us. They use their industrial vessels as weapons. They attack with tactics that make no sense yet somehow work perfectly." Zethkar the Timeless looked older than ever. "How many ships did they have?" 67 when the battle started, Enthal replied. 85 when it ended. They were building new ones during the fight. The council chamber erupted in shocked voices. The Ethereal Collective's representative spoke first. "That's impossible. No one can construct warships during battle." "The humans can," Enthal replied grimly. "They don't build warships. They build whatever they need and then change it into whatever they want. Every mining ship becomes a carrier. Every cargo vessel becomes a cruiser. Every civilian transport becomes a troop ship." High Commander Vel Nash of the Zephyrians leaned forward. "What do you recommend?" "I recommend we negotiate," Enthal said. "Because if we keep fighting them, they will learn from every battle. They will steal our technology and improve it. They will adapt faster than we can respond, and eventually they will defeat us all." But on the distant world of Helix 7, humanity was already preparing for the next battle. The planet had been a slave world for 3 centuries, its people forced to mine rare metals for the Korthani Syndicate. The aliens who controlled it thought their slaves were broken and helpless. They had never met humans before. General Alex Turner stood in the landing bay of the Liberation ship Freedom, watching his troops prepare for the assault. They weren't soldiers in the traditional sense. They were miners, engineers, farmers, and factory workers. But they were armed with captured alien weapons and motivated by something the elder races had forgotten: righteous anger. "Remember," Alex told his troops, "we're not here to conquer. We're here to free these people and show the galaxy what humans do to slavers." The attack on Helix 7 would become another legend. But unlike previous battles, this one wasn't about human survival. It was about human values, and the galaxy was about to learn that some lines should never be crossed. Ben Torres had finished analyzing the captured Trilakian technology. Hidden in his workshop on New Geneva, he worked on humanity's greatest project yet. The aliens communicated across space using quantum entanglement, but their system was slow and limited. Ben was building something better, a network that could connect every human colony instantly, allowing them to coordinate attacks across dozens of star systems simultaneously. President Elena Rodriguez stood before the cameras in her office on New Terra, the largest human colony outside Earth. Behind her, through the massive windows, the lights of a growing city sparkled in the alien sunset. 6 billion humans now lived across 200 worlds, and today, she would speak for all of them. "Citizens of Earth and all human colonies," she began. "Today we declare the formation of the Terran Federation. We are no longer scattered settlements hiding in the shadows. We are one people united across the stars." Her words were broadcast instantly to every human world through Ben Torres's new communication network. On distant mining stations and farming colonies, in underground cities and orbital habitats, humans stopped their work to listen. "The elder races told us to stay in our own system. They said we were too dangerous to be allowed among the stars. They were right about one thing. We are dangerous. We are dangerous to slavery, to oppression, to anyone who thinks they can control us." On Nexus Prime, the Elder Council watched the broadcast in growing alarm. Elena Rodriguez looked directly into the camera as she continued. "We did not ask to be your enemies. We asked only to explore, to grow, to live free among the stars. You chose to make us your enemies when you tried to cage us. Now you will learn what that choice has cost. The Nexarii Communion, a race of crystal, beings known for their wisdom, had tried to prevent this moment. Ambassador Prime Kythalos materialized in the council chamber, his translucent body glowing with stress patterns. I have spent 3 months in negotiation with human leadership, he reported. They are unlike any species we have encountered. They do not want territory or resources. They want something far more dangerous. What do they want? Asked the Krillian representative. Freedom, Kythalos replied. Not just for themselves, but for everyone. They see our galactic order and believe it is wrong. They intend to change it. General Alex Turner had proven that human intentions were more than words. The liberation of Helix 7 had shocked the galaxy. The Korthani Syndicate had ruled that world for 300 years, using slave labor to mine rare crystals. They thought their orbital defense stations and ground fortresses made them untouchable. They learned otherwise when human ships arrived without warning. Alex led the assault personally, riding in the first landing craft to reach the planet's surface. His troops moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Instead of attacking the heavily defended slave compounds, they attacked the guard barracks. Instead of trying to capture the mining facilities, they destroyed the control systems that kept the slaves from escaping. Free the people first, Alex had told his troops. Everything else can wait. The battle lasted 4 days. When it ended, 3 million former slaves walked free for the first time in their lives. The Korthani Syndicate's fortress cities lay in ruins, but the humans had done something no elder race would have considered. They armed the freed slaves. Here, Alex said, handing laser rifles to the former prisoners. Your world, your choice. We're leaving these weapons and ships for you. What you do with them is up to you. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Humans didn't conquer worlds. They liberated them and then left. But they left behind weapons, ships, and most dangerous of all, ideas. Captain Rachel Stone commanded the exploration ship Pioneer when it made the discovery that would change everything. Her mission was to map the forgotten worlds. Star systems the Elder Council had declared off limits after their civilizations collapsed. Captain, her science officer reported, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the 4th planet. It looks like someone's still alive down there. The world below was scarred by ancient wars, its surface marked by crater lakes and ruined cities. But in the deepest valleys, hidden from orbital sensors, new settlements glowed with artificial light. They're the Keth Mori, Rachel discovered after making contact. Their race fell to civil war 800 years ago. The Council wrote them off as a failed species and quarantined their worlds. The Keth Mori leader, an old warrior named Geth Allen, met with Rachel in the ruins of his people's ancient capital. His race looked like humans crossed with lions, tall and proud despite their exile. The Council said we were too violent to join galactic civilization, he explained. They left us here to die slowly while they built their perfect peace. What, if I told you that doesn't have to be the end of your story? Rachel asked. Within weeks, human traders were visiting Keth Mori worlds. They brought medicine, technology, and something the elder races had forbidden: hope. The Keth Mori began rebuilding their shattered civilization, this time with human help and human ideas about freedom. Dr. Lisa Hayes made her greatest discovery in the ruins of an ancient library on the dead world of Xerion Prime. The planet had once been home to the architect race, beings so advanced that they had simply vanished one day, leaving behind only empty cities and strange technology. Jake, she called over the communication link to Earth, you need to see this. The holographic message she sent showed genetic scans from dozens of elder races. Everyone showed the same pattern: artificial modification at the molecular level. Someone had changed their basic nature, removed the aggressive instincts that drove exploration and expansion. The architect race did this, Lisa explained. They genetically modified every sapient species in the galaxy except one, us. We never met them, so we never got fixed. Jake Morrison stared at the data. Are you saying the peaceful nature of the elder races is artificial? Completely artificial. They were all warriors once, just like us. But the architects changed them, made them passive and content. The entire galactic order is built on genetic modification, designed to prevent exactly what we're doing, expanding and exploring. Fighting for what we believe in, Lisa corrected. The architects wanted a peaceful galaxy, so they removed the will to fight from everyone who might disturb that peace. The implications were staggering. The elder races weren't naturally peaceful. They had been programmed to be peaceful, and now humanity, the one species that had escaped that programming, was undoing millions of years of artificial evolution simply by existing. Colonel Danny Wright led the expedition that found the Architect Control Center on Terminus Prime. The planet was a dead rock at the edge of known space, but its core contained technology beyond human understanding. It's still active, his science team reported. The entire system is designed to monitor and maintain the genetic modifications across the galaxy, and it's been trying to scan us. What kind of scans? The same kind it used on other races before modifying them. It's trying to figure out how to make us peaceful like everyone else. Danny looked at the massive crystalline structure that filled the planet's core. Millions of lights flickered across its surface, each one representing a different species, a different world, a different civilization that had been changed to fit the architect vision of perfection. Can we shut it down? We could, the science officer replied. But Danny, if we do that, it might reverse the modifications. Every elder race in the galaxy could return to their original nature. You mean they could become warriors again? Exactly. The galaxy could return to the way it was before the architects imposed their peace. On Nexus Prime, the Elder Council faced its greatest crisis. The humans had found the truth about their genetic modifications. Worse, they had found the control system and were threatening to destroy it. Zethkar, the Timeless, spoke for the last time to the assembled representatives. I have lived for 50,000 years. I have seen the rise and fall of countless species. I remember what we were like before the architects changed us. The council chamber was silent. We were like the humans, he continued. Violent, aggressive, constantly fighting. The architects saved us from ourselves by removing our capacity for war. Now the humans threaten to return us to what we were. What do you recommend? Asked High Commander Velnash. I recommend we choose, Zethkar replied. The humans are giving us a choice the architects never did. We can remain as we are, peaceful and controlled. Or we can become what we once were, free and dangerous. And if we choose freedom? Zethkar's ancient eyes showed something they had not held for millennia. Excitement. Then the galaxy will burn with the fire of 1 billion stars. And perhaps for the first time in millions of years we will truly be alive. Colonel Danny Wright stood before the Architect Control System, his hand hovering over the destruction switch. Around him, his team waited for the order that would change the galaxy forever. Colonel, came the voice of Dr. Hayes over the radio. We're detecting massive changes in Elder fleet movements. They're mobilizing everything they have. To attack us? Unknown. Some fleets are moving toward human space. Others are pulling back to defensive positions. It's like they can't decide what they want to do. Danny understood. The elder races were fighting their programming for the first time in millions of years. Half of them wanted to destroy humanity to preserve their artificial peace. The other half wanted to join humanity in destroying the system that had controlled them. Danny, came Admiral Carter's voice. Whatever you're going to do, do it fast. We've got incoming reports of battles breaking out across the galaxy. Some elder races are fighting each other. The moment Colonel Danny Wright destroyed the Architect Control System, every star in the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Then chaos erupted on a scale not seen for millions of years. Fleet Admiral Chris Walker commanded humanity's largest military operation from the bridge of the Invictus, a massive ship built from captured alien technology and human determination. Around him, the March Beyond fleet stretched across space like a metal constellation. 500 human ships carrying not weapons of conquest, but a message of freedom. Admiral, reported his communications officer, we're receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. Elder fleets are fighting each other. Some species are demanding immediate war with humanity. Others are requesting alliance. Chris nodded. He had expected this. When the genetic modifications were destroyed, every elder race suddenly remembered what they had been before the architects changed them. Some embraced their rediscovered nature. Others fought desperately to return to their artificial peace. "Take us to Nexus Prime," Chris ordered. "It's time to finish this." On the crystal world where the Galactic Council had ruled for millennia, something unprecedented was happening. The 7 elder races were no longer unified. The Zephyrians had split into 2 factions, with half their fleet declaring independence from Council authority. The Trilakians were fighting a civil war in orbit around their homeworld. The Krillians had simply vanished, disappearing into deep space to explore their rediscovered warrior nature. Only the Vorthak remained unchanged, and Zethkar the Timeless waited in the council chamber for humanity's arrival. Dr. Lisa Hayes had spent the journey to Nexus Prime studying the readings from the destroyed architect system. What she found amazed and terrified her in equal measure. The modifications weren't just genetic, she explained to Admiral Walker. They were quantum-level changes to consciousness itself. The architects didn't just breed the violence out of these species. They removed their capacity for certain kinds of thinking. What kinds of thinking? Innovation, risk-taking, the ability to imagine things being different than they are. The elder races became peaceful because they lost the ability to conceive of change. Chris understood. And now they can think like us. Some of them. Others are fighting the change, trying to suppress their rediscovered instincts. But Chris, there's something else. The architects left behind more than just the control system. On the dead world of Terminus Prime, the ruins of the architect city were revealing their secrets. Captain Kelly Brooks led the exploration team through massive halls filled with technology that defied human understanding. But it was the final chamber that took her breath away. "Admiral," she reported over the quantum communicator, "you need to see this." The architects didn't just disappear. They left us a message. The holographic recording activated when Kelly entered the chamber. A being of pure energy appeared, speaking in a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "If you are seeing this, then our great work has failed," the architect said. "We sought to create perfect peace by removing the chaos of natural development. We believed that aggression and conflict were diseases to be cured." The image shifted, showing the galaxy as it had been before architect intervention. Thousands of species fought endless wars, destroying worlds and themselves in their hunger for expansion and dominance. "We ended the wars," the architect continued. "We created stability, but we also created stagnation. In seeking perfection, we forgot that growth requires struggle, that discovery requires risk, that life itself requires the freedom to choose, even if that choice leads to conflict." Kelly felt chills as the message continued. "We have learned our error too late. Our own species, in seeking to perfect others, lost the very qualities that made us great. We became so peaceful, so satisfied, that we forgot how to live. This is our final gift, the choice we never gave others, to remain as you are or to become something new." The hologram faded, leaving Kelly alone in the ancient chamber, but the message was clear. The architects had not vanished. They had chosen to become something beyond physical existence, leaving the galaxy to find its own path. The March Beyond fleet arrived at Nexus Prime to find the crystal world in chaos. Ships from dozens of species filled the space around the planet, some flying in formation, others locked in battle. The famous unity of the Galactic Council had shattered like glass. Zethkar. The Timeless stood alone in the council chamber as Admiral Walker and his escort entered. The ancient Vorthak looked exactly as he had 50,000 years ago, but his eyes held something new. Uncertainty. "Admiral Walker," Zethkar said, "I have lived longer than any being in this galaxy. I have seen the rise and fall of 10,000 civilizations, but I have never seen anything like what you humans have accomplished." Chris remained silent, waiting. "You have destroyed the foundation of galactic order," Zethkar continued. You have returned violence and chaos to species that had forgotten both. Across the galaxy, wars are breaking out as races rediscover their aggressive instincts. Millions will die. And? Chris asked. And for the first time in millions of years they will die as themselves, not as pale shadows of what the architects wanted them to be. You have given us back our freedom to choose, even if that choice leads to destruction. The old Vorthak moved to the great windows that looked out on the battle-torn space around Nexus Prime. Tell me, Admiral, what do you intend to do with this freedom you have unleashed? Chris joined him at the window. What we've always done: explore, grow, make mistakes and learn from them. Fight when we have to, build when we can, and never accept that things have to stay the same. Even if it means war? Even if it means war, Chris confirmed. Peace that comes from genetic programming isn't peace at all. It's just well-organized death. Dr. Hayes made her final discovery in the deepest archives of Nexus Prime. Hidden in quantum storage that had remained untouched for millions of years, she found the complete records of the architect intervention. What she learned changed everything. They didn't modify every species the same way, she reported to the fleet. Each race was changed differently based on their original nature. The Vorthak kept their memories but lost their aggression. The Zephyrians kept their pride but lost their ambition. The Trilakians kept their intelligence but lost their creativity. What about humans? Admiral Walker asked. We were never modified because the architects never found us. But more than that, Chris, we carry genetic markers from before their intervention. We're not just unchanged. We're a living record of what intelligent life was like before the architects imposed their order. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just another species. They were the galaxy's memory of what it had been before artificial peace was imposed. They were evolution's answer to the architect experiment. The final confrontation came, not in battle but in choice. The remnants of the Elder Council, representing species that remembered their original nature, gathered in the crystal chamber one last time. Some demanded that humanity restore the architect controls. Others begged for human alliance in exploring their rediscovered selves. Admiral Walker stood before them all and delivered humanity's answer. We will not restore the controls, he said simply. We will not force you to remain peaceful any more than we will force you to become violent. Each species, each world, each individual must choose their own path. And what of the chaos? Demanded a Trilakian representative. What of the wars that have already begun? War is a choice, Chris replied. So is peace. So is everything in between. The architects took that choice away from you. We're giving it back. What you do with it is up to you. High Commander Velnash of the Zephyrians spoke for the first time since the modifications ended. Some of us will choose violence. Some will choose isolation. Some may even choose to restore the modifications to themselves. Then that's your choice to make, Chris said. Freedom means the freedom to be wrong. Captain Kelly Brooks returned from Terminus Prime with the final piece of the architect legacy, a single device that could restore the genetic modifications to any species that chose to use it. But she also brought the architect's final message, a warning and a gift in equal measure. The choice is yours, the ancient recording said. But choose wisely. For once you have tasted freedom, you can never again accept chains, even chains. You forge for yourself. The galaxy that emerged from the architect's shadow was chaotic, violent, and beautiful. Some species embraced their rediscovered nature and began exploring with human-like enthusiasm. Others retreated to isolated systems, trying to maintain their artificial peace through will alone. A few chose to restore the modifications to themselves, preferring programmed contentment to the uncertainty of choice. But everywhere, in laboratories, and shipyards, in schools and meeting halls, the question echoed, what do we choose to become? Years later, human children played in parks on worlds across the galaxy, their laughter echoing through alien cities. Beside them, young Kethmori learned to read human stories about exploration and adventure. Zephyrian cadets trained alongside, human pilots sharing techniques and dreams of distant stars. The peace was not perfect, Wars still broke out between species that chose conflict over cooperation. Pirates raided trade routes.